In that same 2012, you are aware. Let me make the point, please, Solo. Please write it down.
He's just asking.
Let him write it down. No, you shouldn't wield the power to Solo to ask questions. He doesn't have the capacity. No, who is the host here?
Just go ahead.
Or is he your co-host? Are you working with him?
I mean, you come on.
So if you wield the power to him to ask questions, it's improper.
We're not wielding power to him.
The people around this table, all of us around this table, it is only one person clothed with the power to ask questions, and that is you. So if you want to reserve your right to Solo, that is fine. But the way Solo is also speaking, I also reserve the right to ask him questions. If that is how you want to moderate your show, then that is fair.
So this is a conversation, and in every conversation, you should allow for exchanges, right? There should be dialogue.
So are you now making the ground rule that panel members are entitled to ask for
it's not against.
I haven't done that.
So
that's fair. No.
Just go ahead.
I will never ask you any question.
Okay, let's hear you.
I will never ask you any question. Don't worry.
So I can give you my pen, right? Your point. Allow me. When you do that, you try to distract my thoughts, and it's a deliberate tactic. We've all been in this game for a while. But the point is that.
Yamahwefo ina kwaba na yomfambra mega TV and platform we eso ahanom aye you number 1 authentic platform ye bedi nkomo na yenim ongoing conversation na ekoso eba na yem politics ma yenim de ekoso e wo Ghana nsem mienu bi a omanfo edi hu nkomo pa eye Yebra President John Mahama odi ne brother private jets etu kwan enanso ama minority no eyen PP fo abel kansem omukire mu a enye good behavior yebekọ ne akotie sansen no emu nkire mu yie sansona security recruitment disqualification ho ensensem ye nenim say over the weekend yet in Sembia na interior minister de betu dwa okiremu a omo pe security bit say immigration customs de crowd omo nfa mamontin soldier police ni de kai ka ho no in fact enkofo bebre omudru attitude test no omo disqualify omo papa sansem no so yebekọ ne yakwakutie mu yie. And finally I think say a conversation about Ghana's economy and also yebeko nyakwa kutie enkomo no emu eye na nipaku omotenase a omo ebobo sankomo we ho owura ye friend Solomon Owusu aye Director of Communications at the United Party Plus yewura Alan Kwadwokyermanten ni party no sansona owura ye friend Ivan Kyei Innocent youth activist political analyst stroke activist onunso ekan komono ehun ana Dr. Alhaji Baumia ni aid Kwesi Botwey lawyer Kwesi Botwey enso ejinam bia busie ebeko ne kwakutie how Kwesi Botwey floppy on these issues no namso ema yewura Solomon Owusu and Ivan Kyei Innocent eto omboase schooling on these issues. But you can catch MPP for propaganda and don't best it. But and obia na ebe yi no propaganda ne de omo best but anyo obia na ebe den obe yi no ye be kọ ne akuti sansem we emu enchire mu meso so do comment betum na wa like na wa share na foforo anye bia hwe sanse hanom area number 1 authentic platform Mega TV ankopon kan ho na onhyira papa yentie nkomo no emu enchire mu yekoba ye beto aso pepepe edi amahanom area number 1 authentic platform Mega TV.
United Party, not UP. Okay.
So a
because when I say UP, there's a temptation to add plus.
United Party. It's a beautiful party. The party for the future.
So, will you join the president to fly his brother's new baby, the jet, the private jet?
Why not? I mean, what is the question, the issue for determination? I have been listening to the brouhaha surrounding the whole battle, and it's much ado about nothing, honestly. So, as a country, do we have a functioning jet right now?
The Falcon is there, isn't it?
We are told by the Minister of Communication, Information at the presidency that they have been advised that the presidential jet is not usable. At least that's what I heard for now. I have not heard any contrary view from the squadron wing of the Ghana Air Force. They are in charge of our jets. And so to that extent, it means what the information minister, the information has put out there is the true position that the presidential jet is not usable. So the president is faced with two options. As a country, he's faced with two options. It's either he's going to go by commercial flights, where he will join any other passenger to be traveling, doing transit here and there, to be working on behalf of Ghana. In fact, it's three options. Or to be renting jets, just like President Akufo-Addo was doing, or to abandon foreign trips. This is the decision faced by the country now. Now, if I were to ask...
I add number 4 to possibly buy a new one.
But they have ordered. I mean, it's also not true that the country has not ordered. We have ordered a presidential jet that should be ready by early next year.
As part of the
it included the presidential jet. So, as a country, you can decide to tell your president, look, Mr. President, because you don't have a usable jet, presidential jet, stay home. Don't go outside the country. That's an option. We voted for him. We can tell him stop traveling. Is that the position that those that are saying that he shouldn't go with the brothers' jet advancing? Secondly, is it the view or the position of those that are saying that he should stop using to advise him to be going by commercial flights? That is also another option. You understand? And the third one is the renting of the jets. Now you do the cost-benefit analysis and you do the security implications of all these scenarios that I've given you. Between using his brother's jet and going by commercial flights, which one as a country do we seem to see as being security tight?
Well, the views will vary, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're not in control of either of those flights.
So then I narrow it to my personal view. Yeah. First of all, the state must get his jet. I agree with those that says that he must not be using his brother's jet. And the emphasis, the caveat must be that if there is a jet for the state.
Okay, so that's the context within which we shouldn't allow.
We shouldn't allow. Okay. Because if the state has a jet sitting down, he has no business. I would have been the first person to call him out. But here is the case that the state is not having a jet. Then the second level of it.
But so how about the Falcon we sent for retrofitting, or is it repairs or something?
That's why I referenced the squadron.
That one is still not.
They say it's still not. I am waiting for. You know, I'm not a technical person in that field. So we will need some express statement coming from the squadron to tell us the true state of the Falcon. Whether what the information minister said. I have no reason to doubt what the information minister put out there. But if it is that we had a functioning jet, then the argument, I agree entirely with those that are saying that it is needless to use your brother's jet. God, and the state has it. But that is not the situation we are dealing with right now. The state does not have it. The last time the president traveled to Japan, he was in this country. He went by a commercial flight. That was when he had to transit like 2 days in Dubai with all its accompanying problems. Now we are told that the jet, he is not paying any rent for the jet. Once again, let's put issues in the right perspective. And I like my brother, I don't know whether since Kennedy lost the elections, he's still not come back home. But let's be fair to Okudzeto Ablakwa. Okudzeto's issue had to do with the rental or the renting of the jets and the amounts involved. So if on this occasion we are told that it's free of charge, what we are paying is the fuel. Between you going to, if you bought a commercial flight, you pay anyway. Between you paying and not paying, which one would you opt for?
But Solo, how much fuel are we using? Because that would also provide some context.
No, because if you were renting the jet, remember when President Kuvado was renting the jet, he was buying fuel on. I mean, they would charge you,
and you pay for rent,
for landing rights, and so on and so forth. Now you are having to pay 1 out of, say, 3 cost components. So whichever you look at it, it's better.
Relatively speaking.
Relatively speaking.
Yeah. And how about security?
Security, if your brother would want you to die, between your brother and a commercial flight, that you don't even know the pilot, that you don't have any clue as to what they are thinking about, which one is security. And by the way,
Bastolo, you travel, I mean, you know that once you buy your ticket, you are safe.
It's risk that we take.
Iran, the US.
You know, there was this flight, is it Filipino flight or so, that the pilot decided to go around. I realized that all those that were in the flight, they didn't need to survive. Just ride them into some sea and then that was it. But what I'm saying is that the most important is as a country we must have our own jet. This must be seen as a temporary measure. And the president has explained through his communication or information minister that they have ordered the jet. So it's not as though steps have not been taken to remedy the situation. As when the jet will be ready depends on the manufacturers. But we have been told that by early next year, it should be ready. Now, when it comes and the president decides to still use his budget, that's where we have a problem.
So for now,
I mean, I don't see the hue and cry, except that, you know, it's politics of equalization. That is what we have been treated ourselves to. And that is why every least opportunity, people want to make mountains out of nothing. I don't see this as a matter that, in any case, is Ibrahim Mahama charging the president. If he was not doing that, we can even be considering issues of conflict of interest. We can be considering those issues. And for me, it must be seen in that light. I don't see the big deal about it.
Let me bring in Ivan. Ivan, you've also been listening to the conversations online as well.
Yeah.
And of course, he's asking that the foreign minister should even resign because the president is now using a private jet.
Blessed, let me say good morning to you and to our cherished viewers. I think these are genuine political sentiment likely to be expressed when the president uses his brother's jet. It's normal. But beneath this genuine political sentiment are a certain hostile mixture of unrelated questions beaming for a certain answers, and most of the answers are just quite raw, and for me, that is the problem. You see, if you're a Ghanaian and your president or your president is using his brother's jet, obviously or naturally, there are a lot of questions you might want to ask to ascertain what is actually involved in some of these, whether it is a deal transaction or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm saying it is very legitimate, it's appropriate, but the questions that are being asked, sometimes is it the direction, the objective, and you don't even seek to understand the sort of answers people want to achieve at the end of the day. First of all, if I'm a Ghanaian and I'm asking such a question, my first concern will have to do with safety. This is a new jet. So is the president safe? These are legitimate because this is a new jet. You might be interested in asking whether it is equipped with all the distance that will be required to make our president safe. If you're asking these questions, it is very legitimate. You understand? Then back to the question of conflict of interest.
Yeah.
The conflict of interest comes in when the president is giving his or granting his brother a certain undue privileges. You understand? So as it stands now, President Mahama has been in power for 1 year. He's using his brother's jet. The question is, what are the benefits that his brother has gotten from him? Is there any? Can anybody pinpoint exact benefits? So no, the question of, they are talking about conflict of interest, because conflict of interest works in the two-way direction. I'm getting something from you, and because of that, you are granting me a certain undue advantage. You understand?
But I'm saying that that's his brother. He's a businessman.
Yeah, businessman, yes. Ibrahim has been doing his business from time immemorial, you understand? The question is that, under this current John Mahama administration, has he been given a specific contract or anything that will make people conclude that there is a conflict of interest in this particular regard? I am not privy to, if anybody is aware of it.
But Ivan, I'm saying that's his brother.
Yes, that is his brother.
The perception alone that you may give some more favor.
That is what I'm saying. It's a new political sentiment to be expressed, because you will be worried from the outlook. But I think Solo made quite some revelation that if you look at the context we find ourselves in, genuinely, there is a genuine situation that calls for certain intervention because the Falcon is not available. That is a documented fact. And there is this report on it that it's not even, it is an aging jet which is not, safe for some of the travels that we do. So that established, the question is, what option do we have? Do we have a jet? No. The president will have to fly commercial. And we are talking about cost saving, you understand? So in the interim, if he decides
but practically speaking, and again, Solo made that point too, but are you saying that it will be expensive to fly the president on a commercial jet?
Definitely, whichever way.
Comparing that to a private jet,
it will be less.
That is why, amount of fuel you're going to buy.
That is why I agree with those who are asking that how much is involved in the fueling, because these are legitimate questions people should ask. I think the Minister of Communication should let people know how much fuel we are buying in order to settle this thing, so people will be able to do the comparative analysis. Flying commercial, flying this, which of them come at a cost to the state? You understand? These are genuine questions that we can ask, you understand? But the mere fact that there is a problem, interim, and we don't have a flight, and there is this one availability, there is an availability, which unfortunately or fortunately is for his brother. Using it, has he been granted any undue advantage? When that is done, or when that is established, then we can argue a strict question of conflict of interest, because we may say that the president is getting this from his brother, and as a result, he's giving him this. But as it stands now, the state doesn't have in the interim, and I am not expecting that by the end of this year or it's going to be a normal practice. You understand that? It is for a period. And that is why I am rationalizing within the peculiarity of the situation we find ourselves in now. Because if we were to have our jet or the Falcon is available and the president is flying his brother's jet, obviously we will condemn it. And again, we are also coming from a background of a certain experience that didn't go well with Ghanaians. Because in the past, President Akufo-Addo had issues, he said, with the Falcon, and we resorted to renting jets at $18,000 per hour.
But that was an option. Solo pointed to the options. You either rent, you either go commercial, you either...
Exactly. So those options are currently available to the president. He can decide to go and rent $18,000 per hour. But if you look at the current political terrain and the state of the economy, will it be reasonable for president to go and rent a jet at $18,000 per hour? That would be highly unreasonable. You understand? So my point is that because of where we are coming from and the experiences that we have had in the past, because we all subjected that particular decision by President Akufo-Addo to critical scrutiny, because some of us deemed it to be very unreasonable, especially taking into consideration the economic situation at the time. So for me, in the interim, if this thing is going to happen for a short period and because there is a need and availability of this particular situation, the president can use it for a time being, and all the questions surrounding it should be asked. If you're a Ghanaian and you're worried about any other question, and again, you see, I said it is a hostile mixture of unrelated questions beaming for answers. See, people are worried about the fact that under President John Mahama, his brother has gone to buy jet. So people have their own suspicion as to whether even the president is involved or to a certain extent. So this question is linked to the president using it. So it's a hostile mixture of several questions that people are asking. But you see, you understand?
So there was an instructive point from one of the audience, pointing out that, look, this is Ghana. This is a republic. This is a state. We can afford all of these things, and probably even renting one for the president.
Absolutely.
Just to do away with the perception. So why is the president not perhaps considering that to go for a rented jet, maybe?
No, as for rented jet, has to be.
And then we pay for it as a state, so we know we are paying.
So I agree with the gentleman that said that as a country we can afford. We have to be able to afford. If you give somebody a job, you must give the person tools to work with.
Yes.
But here is the thing. It's not as though we have not ordered for a jet.
A new one, right.
A new one has been ordered. And buying of jets, it's not like buying of shirts that you enter the supermarket boutique and you immediately go and it has to take some time for it to be manufactured. You understand? So we are in the manufacturing stage. Meanwhile, the president must travel. The president must travel. So if he is lucky, I think it's sheer luck. And let's also put this thing in perspective. I think when the new jet was being adored, Ibrahim Ahmed jet, I followed it carefully because of what we do.
Yeah.
So that any commentary you pass on it, you are well grounded.
Right.
I think I saw, and I know the AFSA global group head, the chief executive of AFSA. I saw him in there. Subsequently, I was given the information through that he took a loan of $50 million, and he had to go to AFSA South Africa because in Ghana, when you go to the bank, there is something called the obligor limit. The obligor limit of AFSA Ghana cannot support 50 million. So if somebody goes to borrow his own money, and from what I gathered, it is going to be used. You know, he has a mining company up north. So this is the thing. His workers will be flying from Accra to the mine site. Now, you have two options. Either you have some negotiation with these, hour and then passion.
Domestic flight.
Domestic flight, so that you'll be paying them. So you do the cost-benefit analysis. How many times would I be flying people to the WA? And how much would I be paying vis-a-vis if I decide to purchase one for myself? So that was the rationale behind Ibrahim going to buy the jet, not for luxury. You understand? So that it would be flying his staff to his mining site. If the country and the president is fortunate to have a brother who in this crucial time has a jet, that would save him the trouble of having to go through commercial flights or decide not to travel or decide to rent. The country must...
So today it's the president's brother. If it were to be someone else, and perhaps once the president sets in that precedent, someone else comes into power and does say, maybe with another businessman, not necessarily a brother, but a friend, maybe. Would you be okay with
that? So
that?
the caveat has been established. The assumption or the principle has been established that once the state has its jet fully functioning,
then there should be no rule.
It shouldn't even cross anybody's mind. And that's why I asked the question, can anybody convince us? Because we are still seeking for answers. Whether or not the state jet is functioning and the president is deliberately abandoning that and then going with his brother, that one would be uncalled for. But as it is a known fact that our jet is non-functioning.
And so it shouldn't be a challenge. You're okay with that now?
I would say, has President ever used that
since he became the president?
Yeah, before he went for retrofitting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Before
he has used it. Let me intervene.
Yeah.
He has used it in Kenya,
one of the Western
Tanzania, and so he has been with it.
He has been with the Falcon.
Yes.
But when he came to Cabinet, we saw him flying with commercial and other things. Was he comfortable flying commercial? If he was comfortable flying commercial, he didn't complain. We didn't see him complaining. And the cost benefit, now we know the cost benefit of the fuel he's using. If he didn't complain using the commercial, we didn't hear him complaining that he went through stress or other things. We didn't hear him doing anything like that. So we believe if he didn't complain and was comfortable with flying with the commercial and the cost is lesser, then he's still going with the commercial.
Blessed. I think, you see, there is no comparative analysis that anybody can do and conclude that the president flying even commercial
is safe.
No, it's even less.
Less expensive.
Exactly, because the president.
But we are just assuming.
Yes.
Looking at fuel.
For now, we don't know the cost. For now, we don't know the cost of the fuel.
Because the president does not travel alone.
Absolutely.
He travels with the whole team.
Right.
So even if each of them, each of them is going to pay, and definitely that will come at a huge cost to the states. So what I'm saying is that, do we have a jet now? The answer is no. Then the options are either to go on high or
to buy a new one,
and then,
which will take time.
Yes, and the interim, there is an availability. You understand?
Yeah.
This whole arrangement between the president and his brother put the brother at a very disadvantageous position because he's a businessman. And as it stands now, Ibrahim cannot apply to do any job under this government. Do you know why? Because of some of these things. Because no privileges can be extended to him because of the services, for the fact that he's the president's brother alone knocks him out, but he's a business.
Yeah, but he's the president's brother.
Yeah, so you see, that is how disadvantageous it is.
It's not good to be a president's brother. So
that alone knocks him off.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
But you see,
so Ivan,
that alone knocks him off, and the fact that he has also given his jet completely takes him out because he cannot apply to do anything under this current.
So are you saying that the conflict will not arise because he's not gone for aid in favor?
Exactly. He's a private businessman until government decide to give him something. Then you can say, oh, this privileges have been extended to him.
Ivan? That
is why you are a journalist, and that is your job to do beneath that.
Are you saying?
You understand?
Is it your case, or is it your point that Ibrahim is, as it were, trying to convince his brother with a jet?
You give him an offer?
Well, that's your brother.
No, your brother. So you mean that for Ibrahim to get anything under his brother's presidency, he must give him a jet, fly in a jet before he gets it?
You give him anything?
No. That cannot be. That's the brother.
Yeah, that argument is weak. And again,
how about the principle we are establishing?
The principle is okay.
The principle is okay.
The state must be providing means of transport,
and it's not there for
now. Not there.
Yes, but I'm saying that the principle that you have a private individual funding our president's state's travel.
Yes.
Not necessarily funding it, but of course providing his vehicles.
No, it's funding. Yes, funding.
The principle you're establishing, President, someone else could do that.
Someone could do that,
but on a higher scale.
Absolutely. That is why we are saying that. So I started by giving you the options that we have as a country. He should go on commercial flights,
which you said is not safe.
It's safe for him. Yeah. And my brother was saying that he has not come out to complain. I don't think you expect the president to be coming out always to be complaining about issues that he is facing. No, that would be a mark of weak leader. You must always go through it. As a country, we citizens go through a lot of problems, and then we keep it to ourselves. So the same way, he must be the person that must be absorbing every heat at any given time. But this is a peculiar situation we find ourselves, that we must make a determination that you don't have it.
So you use the available one. Okay, let me put this to the two of you. Because I've seen two statements online, on social media, that's making lots of waves. There's one from Manasseh Azuri, there's one from Franklin Kujo as well. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen the post from...
I've seen that of Manasseh. I've not seen the...
Franklin Kujo is asking the president to, restrict himself to the guidelines he's giving to other appointees through the code of conduct that the president launched.
So
because he feels that using your brother's private jet will be a bit problematic, so the president would have to stop that.
So all of us on this table, if you have listened to the argument carefully, I do not support, and in fact I made that statement, that I do not support the president using his brother's jet. Beneath this whole thing is that there must be a functioning jet or means of transport. Now, under the current circumstance, where we find ourselves, we have three options. Go on a commercial flight. Is that what Franklin Kujo is suggesting? That he goes by commercial flight? He decides to abandon his travels? Is that what Franklin Kujo is suggesting? Or revert back to the status quo where they go and rent jets? These are the questions that we must throw back to Franklin Kujo. You cannot just...
That's where Manasseh's question will come in.
Yes.
That if this were to be the previous administration, where you have some known individuals closer to President Akufo-Addo, purchasing private jets and giving it to President Akufo-Addo to use, would the same standard be applied?
No, I mean, why not? If there's a circumstance like this, if there is no jet for the president and the president brother is giving it to him on free bono basis, why would I, as a country, the long and short of what we do is to protect the public purse. You understand? Yeah. If the public purse is being protected, why would I have a problem? Why would I have a problem? But the point must be made that this is the situation we find ourselves. As a country, we should have seen this coming and prepared adequately by buying a presidential jet earlier enough. But we sat down and decided not to do it, and we have been caught by events of time. And that is why we are paying for it. It just happened that, what's the name? The president brother has a jet. Either and I would either go by renting the jet, which will be expensive to you and I.
So Franklin Kujo has no points then?
No, he has to answer the questions that I've given.
About the choices.
Which of the choices? Because you cannot just say it anyhow. You understand?
So you wouldn't have taken it easy on President Akufo-Addo?
No, President Akufo-Addo did a lot of things that some of us, you understand, believe that it has to be allowed to slide. You know, I was a communication member of the NPP. Yeah. I know the sort of things that I defended. I don't need to come and sit here and then be blowing my own. Yeah. Some of them were even indefensible, but I did. Because I knew at that time that it was the right thing. today, from where I sit, you must be consistent. One thing with communication is that consistency. And today, whatever we say is on the internet.
Right. So we can just pull it back.
You can pull it back. Yeah. That what was your position yesterday,
and what's your position today?
So tomorrow will be there for me.
Yeah.
And when we are faced with the same situation, and bearing in mind
that there must not be a state jet for the president.
That is it.
That's your caveat. Okay.
Yes, I think that the second question is very weak in scope. The question Manasseh. Yes, because you see.
You're saying that's a weak question?
Yeah, yes, it's weak in scope, like how the stand of the question, because the scenario are totally different. You understand? The comparison here is that at the time of President Akufo-Addo, we were renting a jet at a time the country was in economic mess, and the president had option. It was not as if the presidential jet at the time was not in good condition. At the time, Oponria had come for it and he was traveling with it, and our president was renting at a higher unreasonable cost. That was the reason why people criticized. So anybody who criticized the president at the time was legitimate in their questions, because some of the issues beneath or surrounding that particular renting and those kind of things didn't make sense at the time. And the situation now is different. You see, my point is that I am not
in the Akufo-Addo situation, for instance. Okay, this is one man who's decided to rent a jet.
Okay,
because in his case, he's not. Well, I don't want to use the word fortunate. Unfortunately for the president at the time, he didn't have a brother who had a private jet.
Okay.
You're just confirming to us that someone else was in use of our jet, the presidential jet.
Yes.
So the three options you gave, you and Solo gave, was setting that he would have to, he has no.
No, you see, but the jet was available. The jet was available.
Someone else was using.
No,
but why would you give your jet to somebody?
Why would our country have a jet?
You hand it over to somebody.
The first priority is our president, and you rent it to another person.
Yeah, but you don't have evidence he rented.
No,
Oponria was using it,
but he didn't rent to him. Maybe.
Whatever, but he was using at the time. So so at that time, the jet was in a pristine situation to be used. You understand? It was not as if
you're also using the word pristine.
Yeah, definitely, because if Oponria, who at the time was a president of a state, will be cleared to use it, it means that it was in a pristine situation or condition for the president to travel with it. You understand? So in this particular situation,
but I'm saying that the options you gave, it means that the president will be left with one.
Okay.
So either buy or you rent.
You see, people were not worried about the president renting a private jet, because if you go back to history, there are a number of presidents who have rented, a private jet, and it did not ruffle the public. You understand? The outrageous costs attached to it per hour, that was what infuriated the people as against the prevailing economic situation at the time. You understand? So that was the main substance of the criticism at the time. And in this particular scenario, you see, the president has taken a jet from his brother. Those of us sitting here, I'm not in support of that. Because all things being equal, the president is not supposed to be using his brother's jet. That is the baseline argument we are making.
We all agree on that.
We all agree, because it raises a whole lot of genuine political sentiment, and in a situation where other people also have to question how the acquisition, blah blah blah, a whole lot of questions. Because if you listen to one of your studio audience, he raised a question as to whether even behind the scenes the president who is the owner of it. But I think Solo has provided a certain perspective, because this is not the first time Ibrahim is buying a jet. He bought it some time ago. He has been using all this while, and he has done something that everybody has also decided to forgotten about it. I listened to him in one of his interviews, and he said the old jet has been given to the state for a medical emergency. Yeah. For me, that is another hell of this thing that has to be commended. You understand? But because of political,
the question of this guy comes in. What is he getting in return? Because this is just one benevolent individual who's been supporting.
So that's why I'm saying that it is your job and the people of this country to go behind the scenes and ask. If you bring up any expose that all these things that Ibrahim is doing behind the scenes, that is what is exactly we will condemn. You understand? So until that is done, because of the peculiarity of the situation created, we don't have the president is left with the option to go and hire or to go fly a commercial, considering all the scenarios available and the fact that the economy is not in good shape and we're just trying to manage the situation. If I were the president, I would definitely go for this particular option. But what I'm saying is that the cost involved in fueling must also be made public in order to kill some of these cynicism. Because if you create a vacuum, people will fill it with cynicism and you can't control it, and this is exactly what is happening.
Lawyer Kyei Botwey Jr. is joining us this morning. Good morning to you. I'll come to you shortly.
So
just briefly. So
I will say that as a country, if Ibrahim has an expertise unique to him that he can offer to his brother, because he is the president, his brother, he cannot do it. Is that what we are saying? Is that how we are stretching the argument?
I'm not sure that's entirely the case. Okay, so I don't know if a Donald Trump example will be extreme. Okay. You know, he has his own private, private aircraft.
Yes.
But he's not allowed, for instance, in the US.
But sometimes he uses it going on campaign.
He has been breaking protocol.
He has been using it.
By security protocol.
But he has been using it.
Yes.
You see, let's establish
he has been breaking protocols.
In fact, he's supposed to be living in Washington. He goes to Mar-a-Lago, sometimes weekends. And you see, some of these things, you must not...
Yeah, but the president can move anywhere he wants to.
Yeah,
but, of course. Yeah, but I'm just saying that using the aircraft, I'm restricting it.
The country must go get its own jet. It's as simple.
So you see, the only concern with this thing is the conflict of interest. You understand?
That concern. And you are saying that we have evidence. We don't...
Exactly. It's a genuine political sentiment to be expressed. But if there is any clue that justify the fact that certain undue privileges are being extended to Ibrahim,
that thing be taken
this thing should be taken as a good
gesture. Bringing up the constitutional or perhaps legal construction of what conflict of interest
is. Yes,
that's why I'm bringing.
So what's the interest of?
Is it that do we need the evidence? Is that what the law says? Because my appreciation of the law may not necessarily be that
you have to have the evidence, but just on the face of it.
On the
yes, but because once it has been made public, I think disclosure is some of these things, because the disclosure kills all these things, because behind the scenes
you tell people.
Exactly, and it's quite obvious.
Okay, Lawyer Kyei Botwey, good morning to you. Welcome,
good morning, brother.
Yeah, so here we are. The president obviously doesn't have a choice from the analysis of Solo and Ivan. So, well, if his brother is available to help, we go with that.
You have to pay for late fee.
Good morning, my dear brother. Good morning to my colleagues. Good morning to our wonderful studio audience. And good morning to everybody watching us. On my way, I was monitoring the conversation.
Oh, you were listening?
Yeah, I was listening. I was. Your producer shared the link with me, so I was connected. You see, it's important we situate this conversation in a particular perspective. I do not have any problems with the president's brother owning a private jet. It is his bona fide. He has the right to own any property that he wishes to own. But this is the case of the president of the land using a private property of his brother. And today it looks as if many voices that are expected to be, to be speaking conscience to the president is today trying to rationalize what is happening today. What is happening today is not proper. It is not proper. Simple as that.
Which one is not proper?
The president using his brother's private jet. My dear brother, Innocent, tries to justify it to say that there has to be evidence of conflict of interest. Yes. My dear brother, Sharj has established in so many cases that conflict of interest can be perceived. The fact that there is an apparent or potential issue of conflict of interest, there is conflict of interest. Please, do you get my point? Then he also makes the point that the president's brother hasn't gotten anything, and so we cannot conclude that there is conflict of interest. If you care to know, Solo made a very important point that the purpose of the private jet is to fly the president's brother's workers up north to, visit their mining concession. Let's ask ourselves, when did the president's brother acquire that concession? When did he acquire it? He acquired the Blackwater Project concession just about 3 months ago, under the presidency of his brother.
So does it not meet the time? No.
Under the presidency of his brother. You see,
how did he acquire?
I have heard conversations that the processes of the acquisition.
Yeah, but that mine you're talking about,
hold on. I'm making a point. I have heard conversations that the processes of the acquisition between engineers and planners, the president's brother's company,
predates,
and the owners of Azuma. In fact, we were in this country when Azuma issued about 4 or 5 different statements. I have had the privilege of engaging the owners of Azuma. because we were almost signing them as our clients. But there were so many problems and technical issues with the matter, and so many political issues as well. And so, being a political figure also, our firm decided not to, take up.
No, I get that. I get
absolutely.
that.
But the point I'm making is that. But the point I'm making is that.
History.
But the point I'm no. The point I'm making is that. The point I'm making is that, in as much as the processes of the acquisition, or there was a conversation,
way before
conversation surrounding the potential takeover of the mines. The actual takeover of the mine happened just 3 months ago. That is the point I'm making, and that is a fact.
Oh no, but okay, counsel.
That is a fact. Is that a fact or that is not a fact?
I get your point.
That is a fact.
But I'm saying that you honestly believe that you could just walk in and acquire a mine in a space of 3 months or less.
The point I'm making is,
do you know? I mean, practically speaking, can that happen?
No, you see, they didn't acquire the mine from the government.
I know that, but I'm just saying.
They acquired. Oh, I was quite.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, no, but it's because of I'll allow you. Yeah, I'll allow you. But I'm just asking. I'm just asking you a question because I have to ask you questions here.
I have made the point. From a B2B basis. No, I have made the point that the conversation surrounding the takeover, we have been told, started somewhere in 2024.
Yeah, right.
But the point I'm making is that the actual takeover took place 3 months ago. That is the point I'm making. But from any other conversation that happened, the actual takeover took place when the president's brother was the president of this, or is the president of this country. Again, the president's brother, now we are being told, has been given the concession to the Sankofa Gold mines.
Now we are being the mine, or which one?
The Sankofa Gold project.
Okay, well, I don't.
Now we are being told that the president's brother's company is the company in charge of the Sankofa Gold project. And so if innocent is asking that has the president's brother gotten anything, these are the few things that the public is aware of. Maybe there are so many other things.
I think
maybe the public may not be aware of, but this is what the public, has been made aware of. To my second point, Innocent talks about disclosure.
Yes.
On record, the presidency or the government of the day did not disclose that President Mahama was going to use his brother's private jet for its official travels. We all saw it in the videos and the pictures that were posted. So there hasn't been any disclosure from anybody. And so it flaws the point to justify as to whether or not the issues of conflict of interest arises. You understand my point? Nobody has disclosed anything. It was our dear young people on TikTok and Twitter who started raising the conversation and the issues that why is the president using his brother's brand new $70 million acquired private jet?
How do you know it's 70 million?
Oh, the issue is in the public domain. Now, my third point.
Yeah.
You see, I do not have any issue again that the president's brother has acquired a private. The president's brother can have all the money in the world. I do not have any problem with it. But why is it the case that any time his brother is a president, number one, number two, any time the government of the day is in the processes of acquiring helicopters or a presidential jet, or let me put all together, aircrafts, that is when President Mohammed's brother also acquires his private jet. Is it just mere coincidence? These are questions I'm asking. These are questions that Ghanaians are asking because in 2012, President Mohammed's brother acquired his Jata number 1. And in that same 2012, you are aware. Let me make the point, please, Solo. Please write it down.
He's just asking.
Let him write it down. No, you shouldn't wield the power to Solo to ask questions. He doesn't have the capacity. No, who is the host here?
Just go ahead.
Or is he your co-host? Are you working with him?
I mean, you come on.
So if you wield the power to him to ask questions, it's improper.
We're not wielding power to him.
The people around this table, all of us around this table, it is only one person clothed with the power to ask questions, and that is you. So if you want to reserve your right to Solo, that is fine. But when Solo is also speaking, I also reserve the right to ask him questions. If that is how you want to moderate your show, then that is fair.
So this is a conversation conversation. And in every conversation, you should allow for exchanges, right? There should be dialogue.
So are you now making the ground rule that panel members are entitled to ask for leave?
It's not against.
I haven't done that. I haven't done that.
So
that's fair. No.
Just go ahead.
I will never ask you any question.
Okay, let's hear you.
I will never ask you any question in my life. Don't worry.
So I can give you my pen, right?
It's okay.
Allow me. When you do that, you try to distract my thoughts, and it's a deliberate tactics. We've all been in this game for a while. But the point is that the point I'm making is that the president's brother acquired his first jet in 2012.
Yes.
As at that time, government of Ghana was in talks with some other partners to acquire aircraft for the Ghana Armed Forces. Martin Amidu, we all know, was the Attorney General of the realm at that time. Tells us that President Mahama, President Mills, wanted his vice president investigated for issues relating to the purchase of the aircraft for the armed forces.
Right.
Martin Amidu goes ahead to tell us that there was actually a committee set up. And the members of the committee are, in fact, this is a matter of public knowledge. All of you can Google on your phones and also follow the conversation. The members of the committee were Mr. William Abua, Mr. George Amwa, and Brigadier General Alote as secretary to the committee. And the mandate of this committee was to investigate these three things. With your permission, I'll just read briefly what Martin Amidu said. This is Martin Amidu speaking. The terms of reference of the committee, as I was instructed and drafted them for the late president were to investigate the processes adopted in selecting, negotiating and agreeing on the acquisition of the aircraft, to investigate the competitive advantage, prices of the aircraft, and the level of economic and financial due diligence conducted by relevant agencies in the process of the acquisition of the aircraft, and to investigate any other matter that, in the opinion of the committee, is reasonably related to the foregoing terms of reference. The point is that during the purchase of aircraft for the Ghana Armed Forces, which purchase was led by then Vice President Mahama, his president or his boss, President Mills, as the Attorney General is making us believe, wanted the Vice President investigated on grounds of overpricing and other issues.
Between a government-led, no, I mean, I have to ask you your questions. Between a government-led committee and the findings of a special prosecutor, which one would you believe? Or take more?
No, this is the Attorney General telling us
at the time. Yes, he left office subsequently.
Yes, but this is the Attorney General at the time.
Yes, I'm saying
telling us that the president wanted his vice president investigated regarding issues of the purchase of the
I'm asking you a question.
Aircraft.
That if you have an independent institution such as the special prosecutor and a government-led committee,
I'll answer your question.
I'll answer your question. The reason why I'm asking you,
I'll answer your question. Let me just make the point out of it. Out of this,
you made the point. That's why.
No, I've not made the point. I've not made the point yet. So the point I'm making is that the president wanted his vice president Mahama investigated for overpricing the aircraft, which was supposed to be purchased for the armed forces. At that same material time, in the same year in 2012, we are being told that the president's brother acquired his first private jet. This is circumstantial analysis.
I know, but
number two, if you allow me to land.
No, but I have to ask the question.
If you allow me to land, then you can ask your question.
The whole day. Subsequently.
No, but allow me to land. You're not allowing me to make my point.
I'll give you the time. I'm saying that, Kwesi, that the 2012 point you're raising, that 2012 process was concluded years after by the special prosecutor. Two of them, in fact, the former Attorney General you're referring to, the Honorable Martin Amidu, also he commenced the process, and the investigation was concluded by the second special prosecutor, clearing the president.
Is it true or not true that Martin Amidu alleged that a committee was set up to investigate?
Yeah, I'm saying that process concluded with the special prosecutor's investigation. So how do we?
No, the special prosecutor's investigation had to do with Airbus.
Yes.
The issues of Airbus and whether or not
there were underhand dealings and all.
But the point I'm making is that the president of the day, President Mills, wanted his vice president investigated.
But
if there weren't sufficient grounds, at the time that the president, for the president to believe that his vice president was innocent, I'm not sure that the president will go ahead to set up a committee to investigate. So I'm only saying I am not alleging criminality or anything. I am only saying that when Ghana was in the processes of acquiring aircraft for the armed forces, in the first during NDC's era in 2012, the president's brother also acquired his first private jet in the same year.
You're right.
And today, we are being told that Parliament has granted clearance for Ghana to acquire about an $80 million presidential jet. And today again, we are being told that the president's brother has acquired his Jata number 2, his private jet number 2.
So where's the impropriety?
So I'm not alleging any impropriety. Please don't put words in my mouth, kindly. If you want to allege impropriety, you have the opportunity to do so, but don't put words in my mouth.
So what's the point?
But the point I'm making is that why is it the case? Ghanaians are asking questions. If you go on social media, people are asking questions. That why is it the case that the president's brother, who we are all made to believe that is very, very wealthy and very, very rich, which we respect him for that, he's an accomplished businessman, is only able to purchase private jets when his brother is a president, and number 2, when the government of the day is in the processes of acquiring an aircraft for the nation. People are asking those questions, and I think they are legitimate and valid questions. Now, the third point I want to make, or the fourth point I want to make on this private jet issue is that we are all aware that the president has set out code of conduct for his appointees, including himself. The president himself signed the code of conduct, and so he's bound by it. If you read the code of conduct, the president is clear that no minister or appointee of his government has the right to accept a gift worth more than 20,000 Ghana cedis. Fair. Now we are making a point that the government of the day only pays for the fuel of the Jata aircraft. How much would it have cost government if government was renting the aircraft? Would it be more than 20,000 cedis? If yes, then the president has breached his own code of conduct.
Oh, really?
Yes. Because it's a gift. Is that not the case? Is the Jata jet, is the president not using it by the fact that his brother owns it? And so it can be construed as his brother has gifted it to him.
Is that a gift?
Hold on. Not gift for life, but using it for that very time frame.
Is
you understand?
Is that a different?
I can construe it as a gift.
That's a gift?
Yeah, that is my understanding.
Because others use the same facility.
I have not seen anybody use the new Jata jet.
But
have you seen anybody use the?
But the owner himself has used it.
And I'm saying that apart from the owner, have you seen any other person use the brand new Jata jet? You can correct
me.
The owner himself has used it. And I'm saying apart from the owner.
If I give you my, apart from
the owner, have you seen any other person use the Jata private jet?
You're calling it a private jet, isn't it? It's private.
But I thought you were...
But I'm asking you a question. You said other people use it. And I'm asking you directly that aside the owner of the private jet or the person that we are all, being told that he bought the private, aside him, have you seen any other person use it?
But they use it.
So the point is that the president is using a jet that in actual fact cost more than the 20,000 cedis threshold.
But that's not a gift,
in his code.
Because the owner himself is on record to
both of us do not know whether or not it's a gift.
Hold on.
Us do not know.
The owner is on record to have said what he would do with his first private jet and what the second one would mean. Because people asked him a question. He says the other one would be...
Even with that, with what my brother Innocent says is partially inaccurate.
No, but I just want us to clear that off. You agree that it's not a gift?
I don't agree that it's not a gift. I'm saying that there's reasonable grounds to believe, because aside the owner of the private jet uses it, we've not seen any other person use it other than his brother.
If I buy you, say,
other than his brother,
Innocent's type of iPhone,
I think that the president's use of his brother's jet is shrouded in too much secrecy. There needs to be some level of transparency.
All right.
We need to know the amount of fuel that is being used.
Yes.
We need to know what has gone into the processes of the president's brother, gifting or giving his private jet.
But it's not a gift.
Do you know for a fact that it's not a gift?
But there's someone claiming ownership to the private jet, Ibrahim Mahama, isn't it?
That's fine.
Yeah, so you understand that clearly.
But we do not know why his brother is using it.
So why is
so has he rented it to his brother, or is his brother using it out of courtesy or what?
question.
Why is his brother using it?
Okay, I just wanted to go online to bring in an apple.
You interjected me 28. I was noting, or you interjected me 20. On my way here, you allowed Polo and Innocent to flow. No, when you do this, it's not proper. When you do this, it's not proper. Things like this are not proper. Sincerely, things like this are not proper. You interjected me 28 times. Everybody's watching. Somebody just sent me a message that you interjected me 28 times.
It's fine.
Why do you do this?
The advertised time for the program was 7 a.m. If you were here, you would have got.
So you are interjecting me because I go here.
No, not because of time.
No, is that the point you are trying to make?
No, I'll give you the time. Don't worry, Kwesi. I'll give you the time. Okay, Nana Poku, you've been listening to us. Just come through. Let's hear you on this. I'll come back to the rest in studio because this is an interesting matter. You were advocating earlier that, I mean, we should acquire ours. This brewing into a whole controversy now. Yeah. Nana, I hope you can hear me. Okay, we seem to be having a challenge. Ivan, you had wanted to...
Yes. I think
we need to close the chapter on this. Time is fast.
I think there has been a lot of cynical assumptions from my brother, and he was not able to conclude on exact kind of something that a Ghanaian should be worried about in the face of this whole arrangement between the president and his brother. In a normal day, I'm saying that if you're a Ghanaian, definitely you'll be worried. But because of the exigency of the situation, call for some of this intervention for the interim. So it's not some sort of a permanent arrangement that a Ghanaian will have to accept and say, hey, henceforth the president will be using his brother's jet. And again, he made quite an interesting point that the president's brother always buys a jet when the NDC is in power. You see, when I started, I told you that beneath this conversation is a certain hostile mixture of unrelated things that people want to use to justify this thing. If, let's say, Ibrahim Mahama used shady means to acquire his first jet in 2012, the MPP was in power for 8 good years. Why didn't they investigate him? And again, another thing about this new private jet is that, you see, do you know how long it takes to acquire a private jet if it is new? You take about 18 to almost 35 months to acquire. So what it means is that if this particular private jet is new, and Ibrahim Mahama went for it, made an order, he might have done it long ago, even before his brother came to power.
He says the president was under investigation back in 2012. Right?
And what happened? I don't know if you want to dabble into those trivialities, because you see, they've been in power for 8 good years. At the time, let's say President Mahama did something wrong. What did they use the entire 8 years to do? Because the Airbus accusations were even cleared by the special prosecutor appointed by the president. You understand? So you see, that's why I'm saying that some of these feckless assumptions will not rationalize this whole thing. Ghanaians are concerned because we are a failed state. Because at this point in time, we should have our private jet. The president should have a jet. So we have failed as a country over the years. And ask yourself, when we were sinking monies into those senseless enterprises in recent times, like the National Cathedral, couldn't we have used that particular money for something reasonable? Maybe. If those monies are available, the president wouldn't be going for the private jet or his brother's jet. You understand that?
He says conflict arises.
I am saying that we are in a desperate situation because people decided to recklessly mismanage the resources of the country, pump state money into senseless enterprises, financing individual personal urges and stuff. You understand?
Okay.
The state pursued perverted priorities, and we are in this particular situation. So you understand? I am not seeking to justify what is happening. For me, it is unfortunate. Okay. But the exigency of the situation call for this particular thing. But if anybody has any concern about the fact that Ibrahim Mahama jet was illicitly acquired, I think he's open to investigation. He's a Ghanaian. He's not above the law. You understand? Okay. But beneath that, we cannot sit on platforms and build castles of assumptions in a bit to justify some of these things. Okay. You can't rationalize it.
So 30 seconds so I can go to Nana Poku online and then come back.
I mean, so the matters have been dealt with. I believe that under the circumstance, is the right thing to do to save the public.
Describe people criticizing this act as witches and wizards. What kind of analysis is this? And to discuss that and to say that it is somebody is pained because Ibrahim Mahama is enjoying. Who has spoken about Ibrahim Mahama's money here? We are talking about critical issues. We are questioning as to whether or not the other persons, the ministers joining the president for his official travels, would be compromised by this singular act of the president's brother. In what position would they be if the president's brother tomorrow comes to them for a favor? They are already compromised. That is the kind of issue we are talking about. We are talking about serious issues, and you come here to say that somebody is paying because the president's
have you done business before?
The president's money. Please,
have you worked for
those things are improper. With all due respect, with the greatest of respect to you, sir. Your analysis is terrible and it is very weak. No, your analysis is very weak. With all due respect, but at least expect that you. I don't expect you to agree with me. In all fairness, I don't expect you to. No, in all fairness, I don't expect you to agree with me.
No, it's
but
wrong.
My dear brother, but the point and to describe persons criticizing this act as witches and wizards is nothing but a clear demonstration of sycophancy with the greatest of respect. It is a clear demonstration of sycophancy.
Now let's move on to the point. Now let's move on. We need to move to the security recruitment. So just land for me.
So the point I'm making is that we need proper communication from the government. There needs to be transparency.
Okay.
There needs to be a certain form of guidelines. We cannot do this to ourselves. Because if today it is President Mahama, tomorrow Sami Jemfi may wake up and say that his very good friend is Richard Nyama and needs to attend an urgent business meeting at Dubai with the Qataris for a good deal or whatsoever. And so we need Richard Nyama's private jet. Would we have the audacity to question it? Because the government of the day doesn't have a private jet or because the country doesn't have a private jet. And so are we saying that ministers and chief executive officers and appointees of the government are now at liberty to use private jets belonging to their friends and family? Is that what we are trying to say? These are very critical issues.
Are you comparing the same
these are
thing?
Very critical issues that I think that needs to be addressed.
Are you comparing a CEO? Are you comparing a CEO to the president of the land?
To conclude, I think that the Falcon, the presidential jet, is in excellent condition. They recently took it to France for maintenance. It is back. It is in excellent condition. They should use the Falcon. Okay. If it was in pristine conditions 4 months to election 2024, and after election 2024, it's gone for about 10 months of maintenance. The Falcon is in pristine condition.
Okay, use it. To Dominic Nitu, who's a former defense minister, he says that generally there's a problem with that craft. We agree, right?
Absolutely. We all agree that the aircraft is aging. We all agree that President Kufuor bought it years ago. But the aircraft, again, is in the capacity to transport the president.
Wow. Okay.
It's not in the capacity. Why would you allow him to better this or obvious on truth and then get away with it? It's not in pristine condition.
Nana, let's do this. Please, no banter. 20 seconds. Just wrap up this matter for me. Let me deal with the security recruitment issues.
No. Let me. Am I on?
Yeah. You're with us briefly. To just 30 seconds.
Let me address this guy. He's just a young guy who have not worked.
It is not about young man. It is not about young man. It is not about who is a young man and who is a young man. You are one of the reasons why the youth of this country are not going on. You people are always looking down on young people. You people are always looking down on young people. But you haven't been able to make any logical analysis about this issue. It is not a matter of old age and young age. That is not the issue. That is not the issue here.
Yeah. Let me start with you, gentlemen. Yes. Let's talk about Nana.
So let's come and sit in the studio here and say all the things you want to say.
Nana, let's close the chapter on this. Let's do the security recruitment issues. Should we be refunding these individuals? 500,000 people. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think our interior minister and those in charge of this recruitment have done this country a great dishonesty and then a great service. One, they knew they were going to recruit about 5,000 people into the service, and then they sold about 500,000 forms. That's times 100 of the forms. Look at the money they've still from the average Ghanaians.
You mean the Interior Ministry has stolen from Ghana?
From the average Ghanaians, yeah. Because you are going to recruit about 5,000 people, and then you've sold about 500,000 forms. 500,000, which even led to the death of certain people. Some people lost their sisters. Some people lost their daughters. Through this thing, and then when they talk about it, they will say transparency.
Yeah.
There's nothing transparency about this.
How do we refund the money? Because I understand some people pay through the bank. I mean, so many forms.
Refunding, they have to find means of ways to refund it. Wherever. Well, the money still through bank, it went to one institution or one account, yeah. Through whatever means, it went into one account, so they can find means and ways to refund it. But there's nothing about transparency about this. Can the majority caucus in parliament swear an oath or swear that they will be given slots prior to this recruitment?
You're bringing another issue, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing like transparency. Because initially when they were coming out, they're saying MPP.
What about the minority? Because you know that MPs in some of these processes.
Initially they were saying the MPP, the previous government were not doing recruitment. They were doing it underground and other things. So they are being transparent. Something transparent, anything transparency. There's nothing like slots.
How do you know those?
That's what I'm saying. If they can swear.
Yeah, so you don't have a fact.
It's making a conditional statement.
I want them to swear an oath, or they should swear that they will be given slot. That we can believe. There's nothing like
just the NDC MPs, not all MPs.
Just the NDC MPs. and also the staffers at the presidency. Yeah, so we believe that there's nothing like there's real transparency.
The Interior Minister said this, that even if you have protocol, okay, and now you're dealing with 500,000 people, how are you going to manage that situation now?
For that one, they store the forms. When they're selling the forms,
they should have.
The staff know that maybe we are recruiting about 5,000. So let's sell about maybe 15,000.
Yeah,
maybe 15,000. We can just recruit and then get 5,000 out of it. And then the general secretary of the party, the chairman of the party, when the grassroots of the NDC, the youth of the NDC are lamenting over this recruitment, they are crying. Because I've never seen any MPP youth crying over this recruitment, any MPP grassroots. Now, I've never seen them crying about this recruitment. It's the NDC grassroots who are crying that the party have not been fair with them.
Wow.
Have not been fair to them. Yeah, the NDC youth are crying that the party has not been fair to them. The party has done them a great dishonesty by not recruiting them, or by not even helping them with the aptitude test and other things. And when it's time for polling agents, they also drew AI. Now, the chairman came out that if they recruit all these 500,000 people, where are they going to find thieves to arrest? This is indirectly, he is trying to show us the true reflection of who the NDC
I get you.
He is trying to show us the true reflection of who the NDC This means that those lamenting are part of the thieves.
Okay.
It's very clear.
But just to be clear, Johnson Asiedu Nketia did not say where we would find the thieves.
Who would arrest the thieves?
Who would arrest who? If I don't know if I'm an ever, so I'll defer to you on that. Maybe I don't understand the language properly. But some of you speak, I can't hear. What I heard him say was that who would arrest who. But I don't know if you heard anything else. I mean, if you speak you speak the language better than that.
That's the import of it.
Okay, but I don't speak the language better, so you can help me out.
Clearly, this issue is trying to let us understand that the reset that Ghanaians wanted, we ourselves, we don't want the reset. In the case that this is our security service, and then for our security as a nation, we should be very circumspect when it comes to the people that we bring them in. As to the 5,000 that was taken out of the 500,000, some will have the argument that why do you take in such a number if you are only taking 5,000? But what if they had prevented people from applying because they wanted to take only 5,000? So even if 1 million Ghanaians wanted to be there and then the slot is 5,000, I believe that we should allow that 1 million people to apply so that we'll pick that 5,000 for me, because the larger the sample space, at least you reduce your error margin. But here lies the case that we are blaming the minister for not giving people protocol and that things. Then if that's the case, then why?
But just get the point he's making. 500,000. If you know that you're just going to take 5,000, why sell more?
But you don't prevent someone from applying because you want to pick 5,000. Allow everybody to apply.
Right.
It's like you wanted to go to university and the university is saying that we won't let you apply because we want to pick this. No, allow them to apply. And then the person who wants to genuinely join the service, you, when you were buying the form, you knew that you are not going to be refunded. It can be you being picked up.
So are you saying that all of these people crying, we shouldn't refund them? We shouldn't.
You knew what is in there. You bought the form.
Are you being considerate? I mean, they paid.
No, this is a security service.
Yeah. So you could be taking. You could.
Exactly. And then at least you went for process. You had to do other things. So the country at least spend something money on you. Right. So if you've given 200, yes, the money 200 Ghana is not a small money. But then you applied for it. You knew that you could be taken or you would
be rejected. Okay. For the sake of time, I'll get back to you guys. Let me come to Solo. So 500,000 people looking for 5,000 jobs. I mean, in terms of vacancy. And now there's a whole trouble. Minority says, let's refund In fact, some leading members of the NDC are also calling for a refund. I think I've seen a story about Mustafa Gbande also asking for a possible refund to individuals who may not make it.
You know, the problem is that when the NPP minority makes a call, it makes it very difficult for responsible opposition parties to make the intervention. This call should have come from the UP or the CPP or the PPP or the other minority parties, you understand? Because they left office not long ago.
No, but it's in the past now, Solo.
It's what is in the past. I mean, I was there at the point when Samuel Uku said that the youth will not be able to buy forms. I gave him a thumbs up when I was in the NPP. I felt that it was just wrong that people that want to serve, then you take money from them. Just like what the embassies have been doing. Just like what the universities have been doing. They sell the forms, they know that they can't pay them afterwards. They keep the money, say internally generated funds. What are you talking about? But it is a reflection of how we have not managed, how we have done NDC, NPP politics with the Ghanaian economy. And the youth of this country are not seeing in between the lines. That they come and give you all these fragrant promises, blatant promises, and then you get used to it, you go with them, and at the end of the day, you are disappointed. Right. We have to expand the base. I have said that these security recruits, you go to secondary school. The secondary school I went to private college. It has one of the vibrant cadet corps. People go to secondary schools and then, under no pressure, on their own volition, they say, you are joining cadet. That must be the basis of our recruitment. Because there is no incentive. But the person feels that he loves the security agency. So if you
so we should be doing scouting.
We have to. In fact, there has to be a coordination. As a country, first of all, we don't even have a reserve, a national reserve, which is so dangerous that nobody must make the mistake that war is far off from us. So today in this country, when there is an emergency, when our military goes into the front lines, who are the reserves? So the cadet must be, if you cannot engage all of them, they must be the reserve. And we must be recruiting from the cadets so that we would have disciplined security service. Because discipline starts right from the basic school through to secondary. Once you get them the foundation, when they grow, they live with it. So going forward, the government of any successive government must be looking at the cadets.
But you also have an unemployment situation. And that's why perhaps we are seeing this number, 500,000.
But government cannot be the employing agent. I mean, if you look at our budget, we are talking about 90% of our budget being expended on emolument and interest payment. That is why people are always crying about lack of good roads, schools, hospitals here and there. Because you are only left with capital expenditure, 10% for capital expenditure. What are you going to do with 10%? So the basis, that's why anytime I come here, I come with the Great Transformation Plan. Right. Building an enterprise economy, expanding the private sector. Because it's the private sector that will be able to absorb most of the teaming youth that we are talking about. That's why I had a very serious issue with the program, a program like, what do you call it, NAPCO. Between NAPCO and
NAPCO
was just total waste of everybody's time.
But it gave jobs.
How did you, where are they? Unsustainable jobs. Graduates, today, ask your audience, within the week, how much they spend even on trotro or taxi. And even if they are using their own cars, whether it's not more than 700 cities. What about rent? So you pump the money into the private sector for companies or factories to be expanding. They will absorb them. They will pay them more than what you are doing, rather than giving them handouts. Again, it calls for a serious issue or tackling of corruption. I've been coming here and insisting on ORA that this administration must not be playing with ORA. Because between 2018 and 2024, this country lost about 81 billion cedis. Therefore, divide 81 billion by the 500,000 that applied and see how much each one would have gotten. Rough mathematics, each one would have gotten 16,220 cedis. Can you tell me that if you give 16,220 cedis to these young ones, most of them will not make meaningful use of it?
You say 81 billion.
Yeah, 81 billion.
Dollars or cedis?
Cedis. Ghana cedis. Between 2018 to 2024. We lose all these ones recently. But for the forensic audit, almost 23 billion cedis would have been lost. Nobody is answering for anything.
So now that there's chaos, what do we do? Do we start the process afresh, ask people to reapply?
No. And let me also say that I commend the Interior Ministry. Really? Contrary to what people are doing, if the objective is to get the right set of personnel to be look, who told you that the security service for the NDC, MPP, and PCPP and so on is for all Ghanaians? When an armed robber is coming to attack you, do you look for the political background of the armed robber? You are looking for a qualified person, someone who is patriotic, a professional. Now, if a minister comes and wants to do the right thing, you say party apparatchiks are saying what? Why? Is it the party that is government? Then they must go to the parties and then for them to only pay taxes so that we see somewhere.
It's not the selection process that is the issue now, because now some claims are even made that the aptitude test, they're using AI. I've heard that claim from the leader.
From the onset, once 500,000 applied and you are looking for 5,000, definitely there has to be ways and means of
eliminating.
Yeah, you have to. Just like now you go to the universities, people want to do medicine. A lot of the people that you see reading chemistry, physics, they are all disappointed students, medical students. You understand? The cut-off point.
So they won't take that lightly.
Oh, but I've been there before. Of course, like natural resources, most of them were medicals. It's a fact. But you understand? So you have to find a way. All of us. Sometimes you have about 10 people having the same score.
Yeah.
You simply must find a way. That's why they go through body selection here and there. I wanted to be in the military. When I went, I had a scar.
You tried the military?
I tried after school.
Oh, really?
After university, I wanted to be in the military. But now my mates are the colonels and stuff.
Wow.
You understand?
So you would have been in the Ghana Armed Forces?
But now things would have been straightened. What people are doing left, right, center. But I didn't get opportunity. I went and I disagreed then why they must take my money. I've been fighting with these embassies. I've been writing to them when people are denying visas. I write to them, why have you taken their money?
So you support a refund. If you don't make it,
if they cannot refund, if you calculate 220 by 500,000, we are talking about 110 million. Right. But guess what? 5,000 of them are going to get placement. So let's say 100 million is there. If you cannot bring them back to them, you have YEA, you have NEIP, you have Ghana Enterprise Agency. Give the money to them to be given to them as micro finance and let them work with it. You understand? Okay. So that, we must create employment. It's the greatest national security threat. It's unconscionable that the youth, we told them to go to school, go to university. After university, they will get jobs. And this brings to practicality of government. We had said as United Party, now when someone finishes secondary school, there has to be a fallow period. The person must not be rushed into a tertiary institution. That 1 year, the person must undergo mandatory apprenticeship, either carpentry, welding, and all those skills. Those that are also interested in the service, they will go undergo some training in there, so that it is after they have acquired a skill, and then they will determine whether or not they can proceed. We must take our governance serious.
I agree.
Blessed. I think this is quite an interesting topic for discussion. And if you look at the staggering numbers, it's quite astonishing. And beneath these numbers, it's a certain reality, a certain harsh reality that we are all confronted with, that we must speak to. You see, if you have 500,000 people applying for 5,000 slots, it reveals a certain deeply seated aura of desperation among young people seeking employment. You understand? Yeah. And for me, that should be the whole context for this particular discussion. You understand? I have listened to a lot of people who argue that, there should be a refund and the money paid should be refunded to the applicants. Right. And I think that call is a late call, because some of us in the past have always advocated how unreasonable it is to ask a young man who has decided to dedicate his entire life to serve his nation, the security service, to buy a form. And then subsequent to the forms, you have to undergo medicals. That comes at a higher cost. I'm told it's 1,600. All of a sudden, all of us have become an advocate speaking against it. Some of us started long ago. It's highly unreasonable, considering the risk these people take. And you see, what makes this call hypocritical in Parliament, and I am so much disappointed in Parliament. You see, this is not a new thing. go to our universities, especially those running law schools in the evening and stuff. You know, they have capacity to like admit like 100, 120 people. Do you know what they do? They sell form to over 2,000 people at a cost of 350 Ghana cedis. Then they will shortlist over 1,200 to write an exam. They take 1,000 cedis from everybody.
1,000 cedis?
1,000 cedis for exams. Then 1,200 people will go and write the exams. They will take 1,000 cedis from each of them. You can do the calculation. Then they will deliberately shortlist 800 people for interview and take 800 Ghana from each of them. At the end of the day, they are admitting 100, less than 200.
Ivan, are you sure about this?
Oh, wow. You can ask him. Okay. You can ask anybody. That is the harsh. You see, you are shocked. Parliamentarians, are they not aware of these harsh realities? So our universities,
so the universities intentionally,
they are making millions out of it.
But you see, that's why the gentleman there was asking the question.
Yes.
Can you deny someone an application? Because if I put in an application,
no, I'm saying,
deny me and say,
yes, I understand.
Automatically the space.
I understand, but if people are worried because there is a political capital to be harnessed in this particular thing, that is why you see parliamentarians. Let us refund, let us refund. I am saying this to point the fact that similar things are going on in other places, which we should have called them out. You understand? The universities may have their reasons for doing that. But charging 1,000 Ghana cedis for an exam, 1,000 for an interview, and at the end of the day, about 80% of the people will be denied admission, and you have nobody to complain to. You understand? These are the staggering realities that we are confronted with. So if people are much concerned about the fact that some of these things have happened and we feel a certain pity for the young people who have applied, same pity should be extended to those who are applying to
Ivan, just imagine this. Imagine that you walk to any bank, any public post to buy an immigration or police form, and they tell you that, oh, we're just selling 5,000, and at our side, we're giving only 100. So, well, it's done. We can't allow you to.
You see, you can't place a limit.
That wouldn't.
Yeah, you can't place a limit
to the application.
But you see, that is why you need to do some of these things in batches. If you go to the United States Army, they have different field and different set of people and the different skill set needed for every particular
so
sector.
It's not automatic.
Yeah, so you can't just wake up and say, I'm applying for this. You understand that? So when you apply, you know you have the requisite skill set to apply for a particular service. And that one limits the number. You understand? But what we see is nothing but desperation among young people seeking permanent employment. That is it. You understand? And this is what we need to sit down as people and situate this whole situation in the context. Because youth unemployment, whether you like it or not, it's on the ascendancy. It's on the rise. A lot of young people, even those who claim they are employed, how much are being paid? Right. If you live in Accra and you are being paid less than or 2,000 Ghana cedi, can you call that employment? Because you can't live with that. You understand? So these are the harsh realities. And again, I think personally I'll commend Muntaka for the tough decision that he's taken. You understand? Because over the years, there is a certain cultural narrative around this recruitment. When your government is in power, then automatically you can easily smuggle people in. Because there is this former MP of Mpohon who posted about 5 people from his constituency, and the message was that he has aided and supported these people to get into the police.
Ivan, yes, but if you're facilitating employment...
Facilitating and supporting people to get into... You see, it feeds into the perception that some of these things are political, they come under political influence, you understand? So it's the reason why today people within the NDC, within a certain contest, feel emboldened that this is their time. They're entitled because they live in the same social environment with people who previously had same access because their government is in power. But all things being equal, it will be highly unreasonable to be given security service, which is supposed to be the most sensitive institution, slot to people. So at the end of the day, we will end up enlisting bandits and misfits into this sensitive son of services. And at the end of the day, do you know how dangerous it is to arm a fool with a gun? The person becomes dangerous to himself and to everybody around. That is why crowd control in recent time has become a problem. Because the person doesn't even have the mental ingenuity to be able to, study a situation and make a certain rational decision at a particular instance. You understand? So for me, it poses a certain danger. All of us need to accept this harsh reality that going forward, the security agencies cannot be an easy ticket for party folks.
Okay, so no refund?
No. The refund is a late call because some of us over the years have advocated that there is no need to be selling some of these. There is no need to be selling some of these forms. Somebody going to join the security service, risking their life, it will be highly unreasonable to sell forms. You understand? Such monies, I think, can be...
Right. Okay. Do you even support, first of all, the claim he's making that some of the schools intentionally would...
No, I'm not saying intentionally, but that is the situation, nature. Just to gauge it with what is happening. They are in an equal scenario.
I cannot speak to something that I'm not privy to. I mean, but you see, on this issue of recruitment, first point is that the government knew that the vacancies available were just for 5,000 people. But the government went ahead to sell 500,000 plus application forms for the applicants. You see, this government is known for making interesting promises. To the best of my knowledge, it is only Jesus Christ who was able to feed 5,000 people with 2 pieces of fish and 5 loaves of bread. I never knew that President Mahama had the magic to employ 500,000 people to fill vacancies of 5,000, 5,000 vacancies. So it is unfortunate. This is a deliberate means by government to milk young and desperate Ghanaians. I have always maintained in this country that the young people in this country are not lazy. The young people, we are not lazy. We are not lazy. It is opportunities we need. Every young person deserves an opportunity to serve this country. And I don't think that the opportunity should come at a cost. I think that young people must be given the opportunity to be able to serve this country. The government made a lot of promises, and that is why we are having these issues today. The government made a lot of promises that they were going to recruit plenty people into the security services. And that is why the young Ghanaians queued on 7 December to go and vote for them, with the hopes and aspirations that the government was going to recruit many of them into the security services. But today, here we are, recruiting just 5,000 people. And these 5,000 people they have recruited, I can tell you that 2,000 of them will drop out from their training school. They'll find ways and means to withdraw over 2,000 people, because that is the standard practice they usually do. You get into training, and due to the drilling, many of them come back home. But my worry about this entire recruitment is that, why is it the case that people have applied to join the immigration, police service, fire service, and the military? All these 4 security services have distinct roles and perform distinct functions. But why is it the case that all the applicants were made to write the same aptitude test? Why is it the case? Because if I want to join the fire service, I don't think that it will be logical for me to write the same aptitude test with somebody who wants to join immigration. Please, do you understand my point? And so, you see, when you put the pieces
but it's not depending on what they want to find out from you.
When you put the pieces...
with that test.
No, but irrespective of what they want to find out from you, the role you intend to perform are different roles. For instance, you are a broadcast journalist. I'm not sure that you write the same aptitude test with, let's say, a videographer when you are applying to work with multimedia, because your roles are distinct. The role of the fire service officer, the role of the military officer or the immigration officer is distinct. So if you box all of them into one space and get them to write the same exams, it raises concerns as to whether or not there was a premeditated agenda to just, run them through the process and disqualify them at the end of the process. Because many of these 500,000 young Ghanaians were disqualified based on the aptitude test. Many of them qualified for the medicals and all those things, but were disqualified based on the aptitude test. About 90% of them. So it raises questions. But I think that this is a clear demonstration, or it exposes the fact that the youth of this country, many of them are unemployed and many of them need jobs. But if you have a president and a government that is always interested in massaging the figures to make it look as if all is well, but at the end of the day, the youth are actually crying for opportunities, then there is a problem, because this government told us that they have created over 1 million jobs, or 1 million people have found jobs between the Q1 and Q3 of 2025. Yet we have the situation of over 500,000 people applying to join the security services. It is a challenge. It is a problem. I think that we need a collective effort to solve this challenge. I do not see this issue as a matter of political discussion, because when they were applying to join the security force, they were not asked of their political connotations and affiliations. This is a national security risk, because if you have about 455,000 people, disqualified from the security recruitment, if these people decide to form a vigilante group, it will be a major national security risk to this country. And so let's be very minded about some of these things. Let's set a threshold if you want to sell the application forms. So, you regularize the process. I find the intention to sell, even though I don't agree with the sale of the application form, I think that it is a means to regularize the process. Else you have about 2 million people applying to join the security forces. You understand? People who do not even have the passion to join. Just because it is free, let's all go and join and put an unnecessary burden on the state's apparatus to take them through the necessary selection process and all that. And so I think that is the rationale behind pricing the application form, even though I do not on principle agree with the pricing of application forms. But I think that is the rationale behind it. But let's have a holistic conversation about this matter.
For instance, the refund.
Yes, the refund is, for instance, a legitimate concern. I would not sit here to invalidate the concerns that the government should not refund. I think that the government should actually refund every single penny. And the government going forward,
you go through or not.
No, if you go through, that one you are fine. But if you don't go through, your money should be given back to you. And I do not also think that, you see, in fact, I think that the government should set a limit to say that, okay, this year we are going to recruit 5,000 people. So we are selling 10,000 application, forms. Once we hit the 10,000 mark, the system automatically shuts down. So it doesn't look as if the government is deliberately milking young people, because this is also going to happen next year. Right. Next year, you have more than 500,000 people applying to join the security forces, and they are going to recruit 3,000. But the politicians will not tell you the truth. Like my dear brother mentioned, all the people who have gained access into the training school now, they all know somebody. Let's not play ostrich about some of these issues. Let's not play ostrich about some of these issues, because some of these members of parliament go to their constituencies to promise them, Samutu Obama the Mubeko police. Where is he going to get a slot from? Is it not from the same government? There are numerous video documentaries or video evidence of members of this government campaigning on the back of recruiting young people into the security services. So many members of parliament.
But they're not the only one.
And so I think that there needs to be a holistic conversation about this issue.
All right.
I think that young people must be oriented to understand what goes into this issue, because many of them are broken. I know many of my church members who applied for.
They didn't get.
Oh yes, they are totally shattered. They are broken. I think that it is a serious concern that needs to be addressed. But this also should inform the government that there are 1 million jobs only exist in the books. It doesn't exist on the ground. So many people are kind of unemployment. Today you finish national service, you don't even know what to do with your life. So many people are concerned about this issue. And so I think that let's pay attention to this recruitment very, very, very well.
Okay, it's just unfortunate that we're running out of time. So what would do maybe the last few minutes, a minute each for you guys, on the job aspect, Ivan? He's just... 30 seconds.
I think
the aspect of jobs, the bigger picture of jobs.
I think that is the starting point of the conversation I had with you earlier. That it's a staggering reality that we are confronted with, that youth unemployment is real, and that there is the need. There should be a how do you call it? Deliberate attempt to resolving it in a way that will, ensure all of us our security, because youth unemployment anywhere threatens national cohesion and national security. So it is quite imperative that the government will make it a priority and make sure that we deal with some of these situations. But the problem is that there is nowhere in the world that you have a government employ majority of the people. So we must also shift focus to the private sector and begin to energize them to come to have the capacity to be able to employ many of the young people, to fill this unemployment gap. And again, I've always called for the need to retool our educational system. Many of the people run out of the university, aside the certificate, there is nothing to show for. I don't understand why somebody should go through like 10 years of training and will come out with no skills, like vocational skills. Because if you're able to embed these things into our training programs, at the end of the day, even if the person comes out and he or she hasn't been able to find any job we call the white-collar job, the person on their own should be able to do something. You understand? So I think these are realities.
Okay, Kwesi, I'll give you the final thoughts on this.
So I think that the government must refund the money. I think the government must not exploit the desperation and the desire of young people to serve this country. I think that what the government is doing now is to exploit the desires of young people to serve this country. I think that it is an insult and it is an affront to our democracy to sell 500,000 forms and recruit 5,000 people. That's just about 1% of the number of forms that this government sold. I think that the government should refund every CD, every peswa to these young people so that they can also, I mean, that would even be a form of consolation for these young people. So government should give back the people's money to them. We cannot steal directly from the people's pocket. This is daylight robbery. How can you just put your hands into the pocket of young people just to steal from them? Because, you know, for the first time, government actually raised the limit from 25 years to 35 years, knowing very well that they were going to employ just 5,000 people, meaning they wanted to expand the bracket so more people could apply, so they could get more people, and at the end of the day, recruit just about 5,000 of them. And so I think that it is improper.
So that is it. And sanity, and yet there be because of Ghana Biano, MPP for being a once a marker. And once no mbenya kani nano simple. You know say MPP for the sebi omaino ye dia show mun sada ya kachiro mu so mbe bugana no mo bugana ye but the nay omo person mo act as if say sebi nyado Ghana na omujai edimu ndisi no na a heaven inti for that matter inti any kwansi bibi atochima ombra NDC for ebu omaino. That is the ideology and NPP for the to Ghana for Ajima. But we go into details, it is not that, and it has never been that. And yes, I net here, and yes, also and a bay. Let me tell you one thing. Let's tackle Ibrahim Muhammad, the private jetter, or the yoga president. Let's take this example. For example, what Oshemi and any other politician be criticizing that issue no against John Muhammad, any question and private jet. This scenario is for you. What Oshemi sebi o brother ato car our workers. And I want to say be unye scan to car, but oka krakwa de unye bi e de ngade tuto ho. And now o brother na ka chro say car si mi wo 2 3 4 enti se wo be ko long journey na so obetu kwanya be fa ba ko na tofu wegum na yeden fa ko be biade ko abusia enka be da o brother na se, and you will be saying say your brother is the best brother on earth. In fact, we'll be appreciating very, 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 very much. Even when Onyang fan chewo, even when Obekacho Sekoto Fuegum na Yusu. Enti, look at this thing. John Mahama, and say Ghana, Yenisika. When say Ghana, Sebi baby yebedui, or mino nisika, and or mino, we need a whole lot of things. So for that matter, I was say be able to be nyado, Yusu Nyansa, no dibu mino, and Yama Obemo mino. I go into bankrupt. Abemo minor, I incur a lot of costs, a lot of unnecessary expenses. He would cut it off. It for that matter. When we say the brother, our jets, and the brother also, or boy minor at any time will be here more piano, or to me, and make it that offer. And it's a brother, it's me boy obi keke, our ye gun. Nasa no ankasa ne nua ne twetwo munto eye president a nasa the brother ne pese Ghana ko yie no Ghana phantom apafira na president ne so pese o man ne fa ntoma pafira adan na owo helicopters too anaso owo ne private jet too na ne brother no be decide so obema yewra John Mahama ba ko pe omfa nche no but o see o tupan o ko ceremonial function o ko executive function enti yeden je nafa ko oba odi ebisimi ho na nkasa asemu eno no ho mantan twe a ye twene wo enkasa asemu sebi enka oka kire sebi obi a wagimie kura na obete wase simple so wasemu di enkanya asem but ye wo krom ha na MPP for ne nkofo binuma hyase air twisty issue no refer to way back Akufo-Addo de no meanwhile John Mahama rentio Akufo-Addo de okọ rentie na one hour bia 15,000 euros. Do you remember? Akufo-Addo spendi about 3 days or so. Ojare ewuwiemu na oyesei Akufo-Addo na ekonnwa na sebi edalan krusamu a motofu wagum anytime bia na mo de ekonomo de ba no MPP fo nyam ho no nkayo John Mahama wagini nia private jet a otofu wagum onyan rentie no eno ho asem eno moka adan na sebi to de bia hypocrisy ewo Ghana yem politics msa adan na nya atwem minim say asema mi ken enye but because of to me because of opposition because of propaganda you me mani na ma yeden maka adan na moyesa sometimes it hurts when you see these things enti saa nyema any sense na MPP for air no Ghana ni so Ghana ni this is common logic and you need to know say bi enye krono bi na John Mahama akobo say bi enye ngwase bi na odi abro man na mom we save Ghana with billions of cedis because okwose rent private jet okwose okoye we ya enkasa sika no eye Ghana taxpayers money na odi betua nti ene we the fuel pe na akwakotua adan na yembo panyin no abaso ye Ibrahim John Mahama na yanka nche say oh Ibrahim Mahama rather yanka say papa wa ya de say wonya ahumobro na wodi but because of politics krom ha bibia ye be no politics che say didie kura ne be politicizing nti no they are rather blaming Ibrahim Mahama for no reason they are blaming Ibrahim Mahama for no reason they oye no say bi enya ade bia wakoye ade chinchin bia police security recruitment in the mega maka ho asema minifi kan bio the mechanics NDC for mumani na ho na munhwe yi ewo nim bi ho ente sa de abanda da ne ya ema mo ba power no ebetimi aye ama mo small position but this time around no anyen PP for na de ombeba because na yehu se mo ni na you are equally and you are what the same you are equal you are the same nti sana kire wadwen na hanom number 1 authentic platform mesro so the comment betum na wa like na wa share na foforo enye biahwe media no mega makra bye bye.